You may have heard about lectins in foods, and there are certain foods that are higher in lectins and maybe something that we should be avoiding. Well, lectins are a protein that binds onto certain carbohydrates, and heat is a good thing that actually helps to destroy these lectins, but lectins can be very compromising to people's health, especially if you have an autoimmune disorder. So very commonly if you've got Hashimoto's, thyroiditis, a low thyroid function, which is autoimmune, maybe you have lupus, maybe you have Graves' disease, another hyperthyroid condition, this is something that you definitely want to be a little bit more vigilant in terms of being able to decrease your lectin exposure in your diet. And it's going to go a long way to help not only your gut health, but can also help with your autoimmunity. Now, here's a health food, which is supposed to be a great health food, quinoa. You may have eaten quinoa, maybe you love quinoa, maybe you've not yet tried it. Well, what you didn't know about quinoa is that when it was originally prepared by the ancient Incas, they actually first soaked it and then fermented it before cooking it in an effort to actually reduce its potential toxicity. And here's something that we usually don't hear about quinoa and the fact that it actually should be fermented before we're eating it. So of course, quinoa is very high in those lectins and probably isn't one of the really healthiest foods because of its high lectin content. Now, another food group, the nuts. So especially cashews and raw peanuts. So in their raw, natural, whole state, they do have a lot of lectins and are high in lectins. So what you can do though is you can roast your peanuts or cashews, and typically peanut butter is made from roasted peanuts, so you usually don't have to worry so much about the high lectin content when these foods are heated. Now, another food group that I often talk about in terms of GMO and glyphosate toxicity is corn, as well as soy, and especially if they are GMO, they are more resistant to pests, but also with higher lectin content. The nightshade family is often problematic for people who have chronic inflammation. So if you have any type of arthritis, the nightshades includes peppers, eggplant, potatoes, tomatoes. If you react to these foods, especially the seeds and the peels of these foods, especially think of tomatoes, if they're not yet cooked and they still have the peel, that could be very high in that lectin content and can aggravate what's going on for you with your health. Now, for some more foods that you may have thought that were unhealthy but are actually healthy, I want you to check out another video that I have. It's called 3 Foods You Thought Were Unhealthy but Are Actually Healthy. I'll see you there.